Hello, my name is Francesca Escalante, and I'll be making my speech. We all know about strangers as kids. Don't talk to anyone who you don't know because they can be dangerous. However, they can be lurking on our very phones, more specifically in games, where they're hiding behind a screen. Children are no exception and are more susceptible to these strangers. The problem in today's world is the lack of monitoring children that are on online games. We'll dive in how there are several children playing games who are exposed to all types of predators, the harassment they can possibly face, and how there are solutions to prevent further harm to children in games. Now, let's continue on. Many online games have sexual predators hiding in every corner, and it's essential to know their tactics to protect children. According to Crisis Aid, an organization built to protect children and young women, predators would share strategies in a game to get close with the child and, quote, encourage continued communication or to bribe. This is a grooming technique to exploit children, most commonly getting explicit photos. Another common tactic explained in the article would be getting the child to feel special and to match their interests to form a connection. This could be found in game profiles like console platforms where everyone has access to chat rooms. Predators also love to guilt trip, a manipulation technique to mold the victim's mind by distorting how they behave and think, giving them the feeling of guilt. It's a common way for violent organizations to distribute child sexual materials. Let's say they're familiar with a predator in a game that claims to be around their age, and they've been bonding by playing with each other. One day, the predator would confess her feelings and wish to be in a relationship. Let's say the victim would say yes. So, what they would do is to build a form of safety, make sure that the victim is vulnerable, and let's say they would be, hey, I know we've been together for a few times now, for a long time. I always give you money, I always give you what you want, but I don't know if you love me. If you really love me, you should share photos with me. It's the least you can do, right? This hypothetical situation right here can evoke feelings of guilt, making the victim to contemplate and be more susceptible to this scheme. Predators are not the only culprit of endangering children, which leads me to my next point. Online games are filled with players of all ages, and many of them have no filter whatsoever, which means children are more predisposed to harassment, creating a harmful environment. In a conference paper titled Hyperconnected Information Security Education for Today's Children, mentioned that, quote, cyberbullying has emerged as a significant issue, worsening effects on children's privacy. This can impact a child's mental health since their social and psychological functions can't differentiate between real life and online. To give an example, for children hanging out with friends in person is almost equal to playing online games with them. According to a paper written by Gillian Linford England for UNICEF, an organization designed to help children, there have been many issues and studies specifically on misogyny, racism, in anti-LGBTQ+, and among other forms of harassment that are prevalent in these online games. It further exuberates how toxic these communities can be with no protections and preventions. The paper followed with statistics from an annual survey stating that 75% of young players between ages of 10 to 17 have suffered some form of harassment. Unfortunately, the most affected players are black and or female. Another form of cyber threats designed to steal information. Since children are more vulnerable to these attacks, criminals would often prey on them to commit fraud, and one of the ways that they conceal information is from malware attacks. Let's say a child wants more of an online game currency and happens to see an advertisement to get infinite money. So they might see it in an in-game chat, they might get some mail, maybe some private DMs. So obviously it'd be clear that it'd be a scam, but children are more susceptible to this. They'll take the bait by clicking the link, whether by in-game chats or private chats, and compromise the device you're using by injecting malware. It'll later slow down the device, steal data, and any personal information. Now, for the presentation, I have to get close, sorry. So I have a bit of an evidence, content warning, I suppose. So, okay, this is a picture I found literally 30 minutes ago. I found this about 20 minutes in, trying to see if I could find anything inappropriate. And as you can see, there is racism in this. So it says, sell African children to FBI bank, because why not? I mean, it says for content maturity, it says minimal. And there's really no prevention to see this. I mean, I could press play and it says the age would be 13 plus. I find that personally inappropriate. And then this one, as I said before, content warning. This was around 2019, and let's say that I was a minor and I literally found this shirt. If you don't know how inappropriate that is, just look how lewd their faces are. So yeah, me as a teenager, I think freshman year finding this content is crazy. So let me just get rid of this. I mean, no one wants to see that. I didn't want to see that. But let's see here. You know what? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Back to my, I can't see anybody on this, sorry. Okay. Now we'll get to the positive aspects in this part of the speech, or for refresher from the things you just saw. Even with many issues that endanger children, there are plenty of solutions that are helpful, like educating parents, policies that are being implemented, and suggestions. An article for parents called How and Why to Use Parental Controls in Video Games by Fielding Graduate University, written by Pam Rutledge, provides advice on how to keep children safe. Rutledge understands that gaming companies have parental controls, but a lot of parents don't really know how to utilize them. So they offered 6 steps. To simplify, they suggest parents to play with their kids, to interact with them, to be kind of at their side. And they also suggest that parents, They also suggest teaching the children to self-regulate. So meaning, to calm themselves down, not be like, oh, I hate you, such and such, you're such a B word, you're such a A word, a-hole kind of things, and to incorporate how they would really react in real life. They also suggest to be a role model for them by not only setting boundaries to respect their children's space, but also to help their children have a healthy balance between real life and games. Currently in the U.S., a congressman by the name of Tom Jean Jr., a representative for the 7th District of New Jersey, has proposed a bill called the Safer Gaming Act. In his government website, he explains that the bill will require online game creators, not limited by any problems like any platforms like websites, to add good parental control so parents have a better hold on their child's safety. Latford, England, and UNICEF has also proposed ideas for international organizations, suggesting on researching children, online gaming behaviors, advocating child rights, and support children in need. For government and regulators, they suggest making laws, policies, processes, and procedures to protect children online, as well as updating laws and invest in preventing online child exploitation. For gaming companies and platforms, they urge to implement safety, strengthen verification age limits, to take accountability, and hold community events to combat negative content. We're at the end of the speech. There are many solutions to these problems without the need to remove fun for everyone. As a young adult, I indulged in playing online games as well. I've also been playing since I was little, probably maybe 7 years old. And I have witnessed all the above. I have witnessed inappropriate content as a minor. I have witnessed others being groomed, unfortunately, on like in games. And I've also witnessed, you know, hate speech like racism. It's really common, honestly. So, it may seem that the safety regulations can affect older players, but it won't since it only affects children in a positive way. We first covered on sexual predators, on their grooming tactics, giving an example of coercion. We also delved on harassment in online games, explaining how vulnerable children can be with no protections against cyberbullying and cyber attacks. Lastly, we talked about how Tom King Jr. is making ongoing progress in changing online gaming platforms' security measures and how parents can protect their children against these harmful situations, and how UNICEF provides solution and advice to lawmakers, organizations, and game creators to lessen online child exploitation. That concludes my speech.
¿Ya me puedo ir a dormir?
Sí, sí, sí.